What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to Beats Per Minute podcast, where hip hop, health, and matters of the heart are always in sync. It's me, Miss Thursday. I am your host, and I just want to give a shout out and everything to all of my Atlanta family and friends. For 404 Day. So happy 404 Day. But to be honest, tonight is all about the 609. Okay. I am rocking my Jersey Cat hoodie. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to DJ Cam Jones, the Jersey Cat. It's real comfortable. He got some real dope products. So, make sure to go check him out. Go check out the website. He got a lot of stuff for you. All right. But I'm not going to keep you super long, with just rambling on. I want to bring in my next guest. Again, it's all about Jersey tonight. So this is one of my day ones. This is another Trenton native. And also, quite as it's kept, like he was like my first hype man. Okay. You might not remember that, but he was my first hype man. Okay. Back in elementary school. Without further ado, tonight, I am very honored and thankful to have someone who's actually not a stranger to the microphone either, Mr. Calvin O'Neill. Mr. Calvin O'Neill, welcome to the Beast Per Minute podcast.
Thank you.
Killer Cam? I'm not sure. You going by Calvin or Killer Cam tonight? Which one you going off?
I mean, I'm Cal. You whatever. Listen. You knew me since like the fourth grade, so you can call me whatever. You live like 8 houses down from me, so
for real. Center Street,
definitely. So you can call me. One of the highlights of my life, right, was coming through with that leather bomber. I think you had the pink and black one, right?
I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, that was major, okay? That was
major. You know what I'm saying? They ain't want nothing.
We was definitely
privileges of working at the UN Indoor Market. Definitely always was able to get the most recent and hottest gear, if you will. But yeah,
right.
I forgot about that pink and black bomber though.
I don't forget nothing. Let's go.
But do you remember you was my hype man? Do you remember that?
Of course. Listen, we all thought we was gonna be rappers, especially once you.
I mean, for real. I had my name on every shirt and everything.
Listen, my V, and Calvin, my V was the Playboy Bunny because I thought I was official. I think my name was like 14 KT back then or something.
Yo, we were stupid, but those was like such good times, and I've been wanting to sit down and have this conversation with you for a minute because one, I knew that there's some information that you need to get to the people. It's some information we need to get from you. And also I knew that, we would be able to incorporate the idea of, hip hop as well as just coming from our generation, the differences. So when you was like, let's name this one, parents just don't understand. I'm like, let's go. I want to give a shout out to Back to the Lab, D out there in Texas representing. I appreciate you for joining in tonight, my friend. Cal, whenever we start the podcast, we like to ask our guests just to kind of get a feel, you know what I'm saying, where you at. My first question is, what was that song or that thing that made you fall in love with hip hop?
I mean, we go back to, I think we met in like 84, 85, right? So I moved to Center Street 85, right? So it would definitely have to be Radio by LL Cool J. Like it was just I mean, I had heard hip hop before that. Run DMC was official, but LL was like that B-boy persona that we all used to draw B-boys on radio. But LL was like that B-boy persona. Like everybody wanted to be LL. Yeah,
this is not just a drawing. It's not just, just some character on a t-shirt or sweatshirt that you just got sprayed. You know what I mean? This was like a real life, and it was super dope in LL. And I understand because the funny thing is that, of course, we grew up hearing Sugar Hill, and we grew up hearing Grandmaster Flash, and we grew up, with watching the Roxanne Wars take place and UTFO and all of that. But I tell everybody, the song that really made me a fan is always when Eric B for President. Come on, I'm losing it no matter where I'm at.
Oh, I mean, now that was different. Like you talk when that
that was a change. You saw a shift in hip hop when that
that was because that was so that was 86, 87. Mm-hmm. By then we in middle school, right? And so now the Jeep's pumping. Somebody coming up. People got systems and they coming up playing.
It's super different.
Yeah, it's different. It's different. The beat was official. The rhymes was just different. Like his flow was his flow was so official. Like it wasn't the nursery rhyme flow. It was very
actually, we were still on Center Street because, like, I remember, my niece Natalia, being that she was a little older, I was exposed to a lot of stuff between her and my brother, with him DJing at the Capitol, at the Boys Club at Lawrence. But I really saw hip hop on a different level through her because she's the one now going to the parties as a party goer, and coming home with the flyers, no school Monday, party on Sunday, all that type stuff. And like every week it's a new dance. So it actually came out while we were still on Center Street because I remember her like rewriting the lyrics to I Know You Got Sold or something else. I can't remember what it was, but it was something. But anyway, it was just such a interesting time because, like literally every week it was something new, but it wasn't just the music, it was the dances, it was the clothes, it was like so much, you know what I mean? But we are, what they lovingly love to call Gen X. We're Generation X. We are the ones that kind of kicked off that whole idea of like latchkey, kids. And we, of course, grew up during Reaganomics, the crack era. We saw, unfortunately, the explosion of AIDS, pandemic on the scene. But we also are one of the first generations that actually can say we have never been alive without hip hop.
Ever.
And I think that's like pretty dope. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, that generation of 65 to about 80 is, our generation. And it's like kind of crazy because we are now the parents and grandparents. And and thinking back to then, it's like you would never, like, somebody's gonna allow you to be in charge of like somebody else. Like, that's kind of crazy, you know what I'm saying? But here we are, you know what I mean? So with that being said, the one thing I was thinking about, coming from our generation, I like to have a lot of conversations with my girls about the fact that every generation is different. The way we see things, the way we, kind of move. And so I was wondering and would like to ask you, for somebody from the financial world, someone that has been a part of the hip hop community, that has, experienced all those things that we've said, how do you think, financially hip hop has like shaped us and made us different from all the other generations?
Well, because like you said, you brought up Reaganomics. In our era, you couldn't take a picture and it be your evidence. Like, what I mean by that is, like, you couldn't post a picture and with a fake chain and fake glasses and be official. Like, in our era,
it's so different now, right?
Stamped, right? You couldn't have the fake glasses. Somebody wanted to G-check them. You had to have the sheepdog with the matching hat, right? You had to have the real bomber. Like, it had to be official. And and I'm gonna be honest, I feel like hip hop made us want to get fly, get money. It made us want to be official. Like if I'm gonna give you an example. Like, everybody's not a Louis or Gucci person. Somebody's just a polo. You might be Ralph Lauren polo person, right? But you stayed in your lane. You were you were authentic, you were genuine. We had like fronting. There's no future in fronting, right? There's no fighting, right? you needed your own style, your own swag. We didn't, so in this instant gratification era, like for example, I remember being a paper boy in a heart of the crack epidemic, right? I wanted suede ballies in a $25 to $40 silk shirt off the dress pants because I thought I was Big Daddy Kane, right? I thought I was cool, right? So you know, I would get up at 4 a.m., and now mind you, the area, right? You know the geographics, right? So my first house was on the 800 block. My last house was Cash Street, the Warren's house at Trent State Prison. Woo. So you talking like I had like 300 houses on my paper route. I didn't start like that. I started with 30, but it was still a hustler mentality. I started with 30 and I graduated to 300, right? Because I wanted more, right? So
yeah. But in that minute, I just started coming to America, like seeing, like first I started on fries,
and then I graduated, right? And if I keep holding it down, they said, right? Nah, but that's how that's our era. Our era is put in work hard. We got a different grit. We're relentless. I know you mentioned hip hop, but we also was the video game era. We were the
Atari 2600,
right? ColecoVision, then Atari, then the so it was like you were privileged if you had that stuff. I remember when suede Pumas for $50 was official. Shell toe Adidas were official. Then you didn't have to pay $100 for a pair of kicks. It was about $50 and you were official now, or you had Bobos, right? So, our era was definitely get it how you live. Like it was definitely up in the trenches. So again, I lost shout out to all my friends who went astray. I lost a lot of good friends to the crack game, either via hustling or using or not, everything comes with that. But we're a very stoic, resilient generation. I don't know if I don't think these kids are as tough as us. Like I don't, our parents wasn't time out was when you woke up, right? Like our parents was putting the gloom hand on it. So we definitely are a different generation, a little old school with a mixed up a new school that was a little old school that was able to mold the new school, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. And number one, shout out to Diamond and everybody in the comments. We appreciate you for checking in. Definitely thank you for joining in the conversation. And what you said is so key because, sometimes it's such a weird space to be in, right? We're right in the middle of like two totally different like eras. And, we come from that era, like, I'm gonna give you something to cry about and, and don't let all this stuff. And then we kind of brought some of that into our parenting and our kids are like, yo, are you crazy? Like, what do you mean? Like, I've had a conversation with my middle daughter about some of the things that like my ex-husband would say when he was like upset with them or chastising them. And, and me trying to explain like that's what he came from. So he's just taking the teachings he was taught and bringing it, but she ain't trying to hear none of that because like they're like, nah, that's not cool. You know what I'm saying? But we're right in that middle where we come from a place where, they talk about a lot, like say even in hip hop, where you wasn't taking pictures, like you was trying to dodge the pictures to everybody, like, like where's my angle? You know what I'm saying? So it's like such a weird space to be in sometimes when you think about, certain things versus whatever. And even going to the idea of like how independent and how, self-reliant we were. Like, my youngest daughter is 24, right? By the time I was 24, I was married, had a few kids. I'm living in another state. Like, I could not imagine that being her life. My middle daughter was just here. She's 27 going on 28. She went out, to a comedy show and I'm watching her on Life 360 take steps to get to the building. And I'm like, yo, like, 127, ain't nobody checking for me when I was 27. But when I was 17, like my mom halfway knew where I was. We might be up in North. We might be in Delaware. We might be anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Anywhere. And like I could not imagine my kids doing that stuff. Like, it's like they still seem like kids, you know what I'm saying? Even though they're not, but it's like, you know, for some reason it just felt like we were like on just a different level.
Well, I mean, definitely, like definitely. I mean, first of all, our parents could call home and tell us that they was going to kill us if such and such wasn't done, and the whole house would have been immaculate, right? So
Right.
it was just a, you know, we feared people, like we feared our parents, like we feared our nanas and my moms and G pops, and you know, we feared our uncles and our aunties, right? I don't believe that fear still exists, right? I think this generation is or the next generation is astute in child protective services laws, right? Where, you know, if you call, you know, child protective service on my mother, she gonna be like, take him with you, because if he don't listen to me, I'm gonna kill him. So
listen, that conversation has happened for many people of our generation. You know what I mean? Like, they was like, good, go ahead, take them.
Right. So so fear is definitely a factor, you know, where I do believe this new generation is a little bit bolder. I don't believe that they have the grit, you know. They like you said, when I was in the Army, so when I was 19, I'm stationed in San Antonio or El Paso, Texas. My family thousands of miles away. I might talk to my family every 2 weeks or once a week or once a month. It depends on what I got going on, right? So we grew up fast, though. We grew up fast, you know.
Grew up very fast.
Very, you know, please, with the crack era came when people didn't have, you know, now the pretty girl dating the rich guy. You know, I remember in middle school, cats driving to school. So, you know, and we talking 13 to 15 cats driving to school, like multiple cars, 5.0s. How much did a 5.0 cost in 1987, right? Jeep, a Suzuki Samurai, Jeep Tracker. Like, I knew guys that had multiple cars, right? Cadillacs. They didn't cost any money, and you got, you know, 14-year-olds is basically kingpins. So, you know, we always wanted to keep up. Like, you might go get a job. You might be working a full-time job in high school, you know, working 5 to 10 hours after school and just getting by with your grades because you wanted to keep up. You wanted the door knockers. You wanted the rope chain. You wanted the 4-finger ring. You wanted to be relevant, right? And then when the 90s hit, you wanted the neon Nike and the, you know, the Jordans or whatever your twist was. And so our era wasn't really to sit back and watch era. Our era was, I'm going to work 2 jobs. I'm going to go to get this education. I'm going to do something. I'm going to join the military. I'm going to get a trade. Our era wasn't really about sitting on the porch. You know, it was about getting off the porch as fast as you can, being in the mix, and then realizing what your parameters were, what they weren't. You know, like people smoking weed. People went from drinking 40 to smoking weed to smoking wet to smoking lace to you just got to know if that's for you or not. Like, I never was into smoking cigarettes or nothing. But I remember I remember elementary school, you know, some of the poppies that lived around there was smoking already. They were smoking Marlboros. They wasn't even smoking Newports. They just wanted to be down, you know. So you know, and then I'm gonna tell you this, our era had a lot of grace for mistakes. Like, you might get rolled out, you might get slapped around, beat up, but you would be in the game. This era doesn't allow those luxuries of era, you know. So it's a different. Yeah, so you're right. Audi for 1,600. Man, you know how many Audis I have right now for 1,600, right? So I definitely could dig it.
Yeah, and like you said, you know, there was a certain grace, and also even the idea where, you know, like, say someone older than us, you know, you know, the OGs of the block or whatever, like when they saw that you had something, that you were different, like they would push, no, youngin, you know, like, you need to go on home. Like, they would make sure that when they saw that you had something that was going to take you up out of there, that they, you know, they didn't just let you fall by the wayside, like, yeah, I'm gonna let dude get, you know, get got because he's stupid, you know, whatever. They would try to talk to you because, like, at the end of the day, you know, for me, I would tell my daughters, like, you know, it's funny when you grew up in that era, you grew up around, you know, people you went to school with, people you grew up with, people you were friends with, people you dated, they might have sold drugs. You didn't look at them as a drug dealer. They was just someone that just sold drugs, like whether it was to help their family, whether it was because they was trying to, keep up, whether it was they was just, wanting to get, money, whatever the case might be. Like, we looked at them differently. And some of those guys have gone on to become very successful businessmen. They applied those, the idea of what they learned from the street, and they brought it to the boardroom. You know what I'm saying? But it's just really interesting when you see outsiders like talking about that era or talking about the drug dealer, and they'd be like, no, they were cool. You know what I mean? Like, they were the fun people to be around most of the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't like, like sometimes how it's portrayed. But, the interesting thing about that is, because we came from that, and we, like you said, even someone who didn't want to go the street route would work twice as hard, and maybe put like a job over school, because they're trying to keep up, or trying to make sure that they at least kind of matching the fly of everybody else, or whatever the case might be. It put this ethic in us where we just worked harder, we grinded hard for the things that we got. And now, where we are at this age, we have people we went to school with that may have already retired from the state, or from, the feds, or, they went into the military and they're retired, and now they're on to their second career. Or maybe, they're trying to figure out life now. They've been just trying to, get back into, the community. Maybe they, had to do time, whatever the case might be. But I think that, we're all at that age where it's like, we did grow up with the, with watching MTV come to fruition, and, saying we want our MTV, to now we're like, well, what's going on with my 401k? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a little different now. But
definitely,
the way that we have to worry about things, and look at things, is so much different. And I think that, sometimes when you're in that grind, when you just, working, trying to support your family, because I mean, to be honest, a lot of our generation became parents very early, right? So we're just trying to take care of a family, and not really thinking about forwardly, like, how can I take care of my family long term? Like, when I'm not here, will my family be okay? So I want to kind of pivot into the idea of why you have found yourself going so hard, not just about financial consultant, because it's more than just making money, right? It's about how to build wealth. It's about making sure that your family's taken care of once you're gone. Of course, I was in a position where, it broke my heart having to do a GoFundMe for my brother, but it was the position that we was in. I knew the negative, perception around stuff like that. And I want you to kind of touch on that, like, because you don't want to just talk about why it's negative, but why we shouldn't have to be in that position. How we can really, there's options for us, no matter what budget you have, for us to make sure that we're ensuring our lives, because what's the point of working hard if you're not going to make sure that you are taking care of yourself, number one, on the health end, and that if you do fall, victim to an illness or something, that you're still good.
I'm just taking notes because I want to make sure I touch on everything you kind of brought up. First and foremost, I gotta say this. I recall one time my mom was working at the skating rink. We ain't gonna get into her career field or whatever, but it was her part-time gig, and she had taken me there. And I, like, multiple times I was able to sit in the booth with your brother, right? Multiple times, like, and I remember it was like Grandmaster. It wasn't just it was like that was legendary, right? So, and me, I'm like, we like in the 5th or 6th grade, like it was, I was very, very young, and I mean, it may have, what you think, at the skating ring, maybe 500 people, maybe 1,000 at the most, right? But it was just the fact that, when he would drop a record, how the mood would change, and he would take it would crescendo, like, he would take the room just to a different place, right? And being so young, I know that first, he was a titan to me, to see him on the album cover, and he came, like, people don't believe he was from my block, like, not my street. He was from my block, right?
Right.
So it was just so polarizing, right, to see that, right? So I always been a very confident person. You knew me since I was a little kid, but it just gave me more confidence knowing that somebody where I come from can make it to that level, right? So I don't believe that even being a GoFundMe tarnished his legacy. I'm going to say that, right?
Yeah.
Because it catches. It's all about information. It's all about information. So, one of the things how I got involved in financial services. I was making a lot. I always been an entrepreneur since I was a paper boy, right? I knew if the newspaper was paying me 91 cents, they were getting 36 cents, whatever, right? Or 35 cents, or I think it was like 34, whatever. And I love the fact that if I wanted, and it sounds so materialistic, but I was 13. If I wanted a pair of Bally's, I didn't have to ask my mom. So it was a point where, and you talking, this is 87, 88, 89, all the way up to 90, right? I did it for 4 years. Imagine me being 13, 14 with every color Bally, and I ain't have to sell drugs, steal nothing. It was a sense of pride in that, right? So I've always been an entrepreneur, right? And so when this opportunity came to me in 2006, I was a party promoter, and I'm like, I don't want to sell life insurance. I had been in sales in the Army. I was a United States Army recruiter. I had did different business ventures, but I was focused. I like to focus on what I'm focused on, right? So when the person introduced it to me, I went to the office. They're playing elevator music. It was potluck. I opened the pan of food, and it was macaroni and cheese with carrots and peas in it. Oh no, y'all lost me just off this menu, right? And I was young. So we at Club Conduit, we would do $2 Tuesdays, right? And me and my partners would make $2,100 a piece on a Tuesday. Now on Friday or Saturday, Friday is so, but Saturday we would kill them. So I wasn't really. Then we did a couple shows at the Sovereign Bank Arena. So I wasn't really interested in selling life insurance. I was getting money. Like, life was great, right? I was, making money hand over fist, based off of my popularity, if that makes sense, right? Off the love the hood had for me, right? And so in 2012, by 2012, I was working for a company that ended up going out of business, and I was the director of high school admissions. It was my job to bring in. It was a technical school. It was my job to bring people in, and I had built crazy relationships because I already had a network of Army recruiters that worked in JROTCs all throughout the state of New Jersey and Pennsylvania. So I was blessed to just have a crazy network. Well, but I will remember that my salary was like 85 to 100,000 at that time, right? Before taxes. And I was eligible for bonuses. And even though I always exceeded the requirements, I never got the max bonus. So I was like, I was looking for something different in the Army. Initially, I was a combat medic and a practical nurse. So I was going to just go back into nursing like most of my counterparts and peers, right? And what ended up happening is, after I had taken the nursing review to take the test for my specific state, somebody had came back and they talked to me about these concepts, right? These financial concepts. And at the time, like, I probably had like 30,000 in my checking account. Like, I had money from a 401k. Life was good, right? I had a house that I had a mortgage on it. I lived in. I had a house that I owned cash that I had just renovated, and where I was about to renovate, and I was actually about to purchase another property. I was going to go the real estate route and then do the nursing thing, right? And but when they start telling me the concepts, and I'm like, nah, this can't be true. Like, this industry can't be like this, right? And they were telling me how you could get, for as little as $50 to $100 a month. I'm sorry, $25 to $50 a month, you could get double-digit rates of return on your money. And like, I was like, how is this possible? And they taught me the rule of 72, right? So when I learned the rule of 72 is considered the banker's rule, you divide your interest rate into 72, and it'll tell you how long it's going to take for your money to double. So, for example, if you have a 1% rate of return, your money's going to double in 72 years. Well, the average savings account that they told us to get back in the 80s, right? Right, up until this day, has 1% or less. What are we saving our money in there for? Right? Nobody educated us on how to grow our money. They told us how to work for it, They told us how to accumulate it, but they never showed us how to make it work for us unless we jumped into real estate trial and error, unless we got lucky, right? So I started learning financial concepts. You know, we got life insurance license, we got investment license. And when I say we, my wife and I, and we started to learn how the life insurance industry really worked. And what I want you to understand is we can't fault people for having a GoFundMe, because I want y'all to do some homework, right? And again, who do you think, what ethnic group do you think purchases the most life insurance in the United States? Which ethnic group would you think it is?
You know, I would originally say, you know, that it would be Caucasians, but it's funny because I grew up seeing my grandma, like the life insurance guy, coming to our house on a regular basis. So I didn't know that, you know, it was like this disparity between, you know, cultures and communities about it, because I always saw it. You know what I mean?
And so I'm gonna just inform you, and you could Google it. It's African Americans. But the problem is a lot of policies we purchase have a 2-year clause where even if you had it for years and you make an amendment to that policy, the 2-year clause starts over again. So just imagine this, Miss Thurzday. You purchase a life insurance policy today. It's April 2024, and then you pass away untimely in the next 6 months. All they're going to do is send your beneficiary back the money that you paid to be protected. So you weren't ever really protected in the first place. So then the person becomes a GoFundMe, and it's like, I'm not giving no money to them. They had the best clothes, the best designer, blah blah. You understand what I'm saying? So a lot of times now even the insurance man, because he used to come to my maybe not the same person, but we had one that come through.
Never know. I don't remember his name, but I can see him and I can smell him even now.
Right. So this insurance person back then, like working for the company I work for, we're not even allowed to take cash from people. And let me tell you why, right? And this story gonna resonate with somebody when they hear this. The insurance man might be middle age. He coming through the projects, he knocking on 30 doors, collecting, $30 to $50 from everybody, right? Now, the little cute young girl down apartment 2B late on her bills, or she needs some money, and she got 2 kids, and she single, and she looking like a tenderoni. And before he make it to the car, he start talking to her, and I need help, Nate. You know what I'm saying? And now he done took your money, even though he gave you a paper receipt. He done took your money,
and he tricking off of it.
Yeah, he never turned it in.
Wow.
So how are you going to be protected if he never turned? I don't care what your receipts say, because now we going to litigation, right? Or he gets it. Like, I've seen this too. He done jumped in the dice game and lost all the money, right? Because that's what happened in our communities, right? But in other communities, there's no insurance man coming around to collect no money. They take it right out of your bank account. That's how it should, per law, that's how it's supposed to be, right? The next thing is, I've seen cases where people, I say, Miss Thurzday, even though I know your age, I know your your gender, I write you down as an 18-year-old young man, right? Just so I could give you a cheaper policy so that you could get something that you can afford. Now, this is illegal, right? But it does, because now it's between the rep and the client. Now, when you get the policy, you're not an 18-year-old young man, but you probably never even looked at the policy. You just happy that you got your children are your beneficiary. You cover for $100,000. You're only paying $35 at your age. You happy about that? So guess what you do? You put the policy up. You never look at it. But then when you die, they're saying, well, why was these rates so low? You're not a male and you weren't at that age. So now they can challenge the policy. And I've seen insurance agents make themselves a contingent beneficiary. So let's just say you and I are married. You're my wife. I'm your beneficiary. You my beneficiary. But he makes himself the beneficiary so he could take care of our kids because they're minors in the event that we die. Why wouldn't you just give them a will? So there's a lot of little. Don't just think black people stupid and they throwing their money away in the wrong. No, we got to learn how to read the fine print, right?
Right.
So listen, first of all, God bless anybody that has any kind of coverage because you need it. But I want to give you some red flags. Accidental death and dismemberment. If you don't die from an accident, your family's not getting paid.
Right.
So when you go to credit unions and they say, oh, you know, you can have $1 million worth of coverage for $17.95. Like, be realistic. Who's going to give you $1 million worth of coverage for $20 a month?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody, right? So logically, you got to understand. So even if you had a heart attack and got in a car accident, yeah, you died from the car accident, but the car accident was caused
the heart attack.
by the heart attack.
Right.
If you had a heart attack and slipped and fell in the shower or a stroke, the stroke, now you're like, well, how would they know? They're going to test, they're going to do an autopsy, they're going to see the potassium level in you, and they're going to know that you had, for that level of potassium, they know that you had a heart attack because it's a large muscle, and guess what they're going to do? From the potassium in your bloodstream, and they're gonna say it was based off a heart attack or a stroke, right?
Right.
So I want y'all to understand, it's not just about buying life insurance. That's where we're going wrong. It's like buying a car. Are you going to just buy? Are you going to just buy a car without test driving it? Are you going to buy a car without having a mechanic look at it? Are you going to lift up the hood, check the tires, check the Carfax? You got to look into these things. Now, it's other things going on. Like some companies have made be your own bank illegal. Because all it's not what they say it is, and they've been getting class action lawsuits and people have been. It's not what you think it is, right? They don't tell us, right? It's a couple. We call it funny banking. It's a couple things that go on with quote unquote cash value policies. And again, you can look this up if you Google who owns the money, right? Who owns the cash value in a life insurance policy? What it's going to say is the insurer, not the insured. So. Of course, if Miss Thurzday made me her beneficiary and she passed away and I got $50,000, I'm not complaining. I'm not questioning anything. But what if you found out that it could have been $250,000? That's because think about it. After a funeral, like how much is the average funeral?
Average funeral is going to be, I mean, honestly, just on a basic level, like anywhere from 12 to 15.
Right. So, and if we cremate, so we'll say 7 to 15,000. So if you leave me $50,000, I might get left with 35,000. Well, we got, let's say, how many kids do we have again?
We got about 3-4. We got 3.5
kids. How am I going? Even if my kids are grown, how am I going to be in my kid? Like, what am I going to be able to do with the absence of their mother with $35,000?
Right.
Now, what you need and what you can afford are two different things. But what this. So let's go through the funny banking, and then I'm gonna break down what we suggest. Right. The first thing I want to let you know, life insurance is always cheaper when you're younger, but I always think it's cheaper when you're younger, right? Oh, I know it's cheaper when you're younger, when you're healthier, and if you don't smoke, right? So the younger you get it, the better, right? But the first thing, this is what I want to address about like cash value life insurance, the kind you could borrow from. All right. So the first thing is, if you borrow your own money, does that even sound right? Borrowing your own money don't even sound right. Like when you really think about it, right? If you borrow your own money, this is not a pension where you have to put the money back because if not, it'll offset the time of your retirement. This is your money that you utilize to start the policy, right? If you borrow the money, so let's say you had $10,000 in cash and you had $50,000 policy. If you borrow the $5,000 and you don't pay it back, how much is your family going to get? Your beneficiary going to get when you die?
You said if I borrow the $5,000, how much is my policy?
$50,000.
So I'm gonna get like 45.
Your family's going to get 45,000. But the crazy part was it was your money in the beginning. So if you died and you had 10,000 in there and you had a $50,000 policy, how much should your beneficiary get? They should get 60, right? But the company's going to keep the 10,000. Like I said, Google who owns the money. The insurer owns the money, not the insured. So the family's going to get 10,000. The family's going to get the 50,000. But all they did was pay more money for $50,000 worth of coverage because they didn't get the $10,000. If that makes sense, right? So then the money's going to grow at a 3 to 5% rate of return, which is better than the savings account, right? But it pales in comparison to what a mutual fund would do. It's going to grow at 3 to 5%, but if you borrow the money, you got to pay it back at a 6 to 8% interest. So their goal is to transfer the risk to get you to pay more for this little bit of coverage, right? It's like 3-car Molly downtown, right? The next thing is your money doesn't grow for the first 1 to 5 years. So imagine that you're putting money in there. You saying, listen, this is for my baby's college plan. Well, let's say you had a newborn baby. You got 18 years to send them to college. If your money doesn't grow for 5 years, what that you got 13 years when you could have just started a 529 plan and that money could have been growing instantly.
Right.
So it's like little things. So we talked about them keeping the money. They keeping the money when you die. We talked about them. If you borrow the money, they're going to take it back. You either going to get you're paying for two things, but you're only going to get one. You either going to pay for you either going to get the death benefit or you're going to get the cash value. You're never going to get both. So people say stuff like, I'm going to have it for my whole life. Not if you're touching that cash value. You're not going to get it, right?
Right.
And then where's the money going for those for that 1 to 5 years? That money is going to the company and to the person that sold it to you. So imagine we're day ones. I sell you a policy where you think you're saving money and you find out that it paid for my kids' college instead of your kids' college. I don't think you would be as fond of me as you are.
Yeah.
Right?
Now we would have problems.
We would have a problem, but most people don't have a problem with this, and this is what's occurring religiously, right? These are facts.
Is it just because we just don't really understand it? We don't know. Like,
we don't know.
We don't know. Yeah, because a lot of times, like I said, for us, we just go to a job. They sit down and they're like, oh, okay, so here's the benefit. You sign up for this, you sign up for that, you sign up for this, you sign. Oh, if I just pay $10 more, now I can have the other kind of life insurance on top of the accidental, and it's just coming right out my paycheck. I don't have to see it. So why not do this versus, oh, now here goes Cal on, Facebook, make me feel bad about not having life insurance. But I got life insurance. I got to do my job. What you talking about? I'm good. So why am I not good when I do that?
So let me tell you about work. Now, have you ever had a job before?
Unfortunately, I have one now.
Right. So listen, you leave it. Now, me and my wife have not punched the clock in 12 years.
Don't rub it in, Cal. Come on, just keep
blessed,
moving.
Right.
Keep moving.
And make great money. Right. So, but think about it. When you leave that job, you got it. You may be able to take your health benefits and your life insurance, but it's going to be way more expensive than if you just because it's for the group. It's to give the company a discount. They obligated to offer these products. But think about it. If you have 4 kids and I got 1, and we make the same amount of money, how long is your salary going to stretch for your 4 compared to how mine's going to stretch for my 1? Not to mention, if you go out on FMLA and you die, it's no guarantee that they're going to cover you. Not to mention, like, for example, when 9/11 happened, when President Bush said it was an act of war terror, a lot of life insurance policies, even work, have war terror clauses. Some people still never got paid from 9/11 to this day. Like, so I want you to understand there also some companies have clauses where if you're not in the continental US and you die on a jet ski, like let's say Sean Kingston got in the crash, you die on a jet ski in the Bahamas, they don't have to pay.
Wow.
You understand what I'm saying? So work insurance is extra. It's costs little to no money. Get that. That's fine because I'm not talking about the people that come to your job. I'm talking about the insurance that your job offers. But the problem is work insurance usually doesn't cover your family. Health insurance does, but not work insurance. So now here you are, a mother of 4 with a husband, or a mother of 3 with a husband, and your husband and your children aren't covered. God forbid something happens. Now you got to dig into your 401k, right, or your pension, right, to bury your loved one. And then you got to get back to work because you don't have money set aside to grieve.
Okay.
So it's a lot to. That's why I don't recommend that. Like, research how job insurance not paying during the pandemic. People in MTA, which is mass transit for New York City, drivers caught COVID and their job did not pay their work insurance because it was part of a pandemic. The research is there. You just got to research it.
Yeah. And there's stories of that in the healthcare field as well,
Definitely.
Because everybody was finding a way to get out of actually saying that you working this job puts you in harm's way of getting COVID, or whatever. So with that being said, right, so say, me being a Gen Xer, I'm 48, I'll be 49, maybe I'm just getting my, stuff together. What would your advice be to me to be able to get myself in a position where I can kind of redeem my time, if you will, to still be in a good position to feel good about retirement?
So the thing about retirement is not an age, it's a number, it's a dollar amount, right? Mm-hmm. Now you got to figure out, are you paying yourself first? Because what they always told us is pay your bills. What they should have been telling us is pay yourself first. Because the more we make, the more we going to spend. Just imagine if you would have put up 20% of what you made from your first job and never touch, you would be, and you had the right rate of return, right? If you started a Roth IRA and you had let's say a 10% rate of return, you would be a millionaire right now. Mm-hmm. But nobody explains this to us, right? So what we got to do is get the education. So I would say lock in with Dave Ramsey, Susie Orman, right? I don't want to start dropping my company's name and all, because it's not a solicitation. This is just information, right? But what I want you to understand is, right, you have to put yourself in a position where I don't know is no longer an answer, right? And what you want to do is you want to start investing in your retirement as soon as possible if you didn't start that already. If that makes sense. Now, some people got other ways. Like even now, back in the day, if you didn't have a retirement, you could go buy 2 houses, right? If you had decent credit or first time, you could go buy a house and you could use that as your retirement. Well, interest rate on houses is so high and the demand for it's, you can't even do that anymore. Like it's not there. You understand what I'm saying? Like where it used to be, right? Houses would double in the last, since the pandemic, right? The cost of houses double and the interest rate is bananas. So I would say get with a professional. Let me explain something to you though. If the professional is talking about putting your investment, your retirement in a life insurance policy, get away from that person. Sit with somebody that want to offer you mutual funds, stocks, like life insurance is not an investment. I'm telling you, right? Unless you're ultra wealthy, if you behind on your retirement, life insurance is not going to help you as far as an investment. So stay clear of people that talk like that. Get with somebody who have, like we have investment license Series 6, 63, so we can work in other states. Now we focused on 65s and stuff like that to become actual financial advisors, quote unquote.
Gotcha. Okay. So let me take you on another area. Feel like, I might still have it in me, right? I feel like I might still have, little something, and I feel like I'm about to drop my mixtape, so I'm going that route. Maybe I haven't worked. Maybe I've been doing this music thing. You know what I'm saying? Because at some point I'm a blow up. You know what I mean? It ain't happened yet, but it's going to happen, right?
Right.
Someone who's an independent artist who doesn't have, a big label backing them and stuff like that. How can, because I don't mind you, like I want you to drop your company. I want you to, put out there what you, if you feel comfortable. But how can, because we've seen so many, artists that have been popular and that we grew up listening to, still listen to, pass away. And, and maybe they had a shoddy deal back in the day and maybe they was just working a regular job. But how can we make sure that our artists, whether independent or they did have a deal back in the day, how can they get into a place where they're making sure that they're covered and their family is covered? Because, a lot of times the industry is not looking out for the best interest of the artist and definitely not looking out for to the well-being of the family and making sure that the family's still going to eat after the fact, even when a lot of these, labels have insurance policies on the artists themselves.
Oh yeah, that's a slippery slope right here. That's deep right there. What I've been seeing on the internet and all, that's crazy. But so the first thing is, right, so I'm gonna tell you, I'm a regional vice president with Primerica Financial Services based out of New Jersey, right?
Oh, yeah, pop it, come on, tell me about it.
But what I want people to do, because it's a lot of hate on our company because it's more of them than it is of us. What I want you to do is, I want you to sit with three different people, right? Especially if you're an independent artist, because we don't just sell life insurance, we do investment with reputable investment companies. I would love for you to sit with 3 different people, right, from 3 different companies, but just make sure that my company, it don't even got to be me. Make sure my company is one of them, and I think you'll be impressed with the way they handle you, your family, your assets, and stuff like that. I think you're going to receive more of an education than you are a salesman. You're gonna get taught some things, not just sold some things, right? Because all plans are different. what I would do for a 49-year-old is different what I would do for a 29-year-old. What I would do for a person with no children is different what I would do a person with multiple children. A lot of these companies want to sell a mother, right? Let's imagine it. Let's say when you were having trying times financially, but you got a $30 policy on one daughter, 30 on another, 30 on another. That's $90 a month. Now you only can afford $60 policy on you, but it got cash connected to it. Now guess what's going on? Now you can't afford to get the maximum coverage when you're the primary breadwinner. So when you die, they're going to have to struggle like you didn't have anything. Yeah. So what we do is our company gives a level term for up to 35 years, right? Depending on your age. And then what they'll do is they'll cover your kids up to 18 years old. And then when they get their own policy, it'll be, it may be $15 to $20 for an 18 to 25-year-old. So it's all about affordability. It's all about maximizing your money. So I'm challenging you. Don't just take what somebody tells you off the rip. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. If a person can show you through theories and facts, don't buy into it, right? Don't, again, $18 worth of coverage for $1 million. It's accidental death, right? If you got the kind you can borrow from, you probably don't, if you had it for 5 years, you probably don't even have no real money in there. So you just you throw money in, you spending money in the wrong direction. If somebody's trying to convince you that investments are linked to life insurance, get away from them. I'm challenging you to sit with somebody who can show you what a real mutual fund looks like. And if you don't believe me, look up Dave Ramsey, Susie Orman, and they'll kind of break it down, the different variables. I'm just a student of the game. Blessed to have this information. And I got literally like over 100 plus agents and thousands of clients, right? So not just customers, but clients. So get the education, seek the education. If you're an independent artist and you blow off one mixtape and you could put that money up and put 100, let's say you had a plan for $150 to $200 that's going to cover family and prepare you for retirement. That's nothing but a pair of J's, a hot pair of kicks. Not even really that. A $200 pair of sneakers ain't even that hot unless you just got a mean color scheme and you know how to shop, right? So it's not like, because some of these sneakers, like I'm like, I bought those Jordans the first time. I ain't waiting in line to buy them again. I just buy them off for GOAT for whatever, for the extra $150, right? So, but $200 could kind of set somebody in your age group, they could set you straight, right? Then not to mention, I came in this company as a second career, right? We educate, we allow people to take the test. A lot of times when you go to these financial companies, they're pale, male, and stale. What that means is they're pale, meaning Caucasian. They're male. They don't usually want to hire women unless they have experience or a degree, and they're older, right? So, our company is very diverse, blah, blah, blah. Again, it's not, but I'm saying, find out if you're a center of influence. I'm saying, get your license, get the education, because somebody in the industry need to educate the masses. People been getting jerked in the industry for years. And guess what? Because it's the entertainment industry, you're only entertaining when people got your name in their mouth. Once they forget about you, then they don't care anymore. That's right. Then you got to remind them. Sometimes your death will remind them, or a tragedy, or your illness. And then that's when it's heartbreaking, when we can prepare instead of having to repair.
Yeah, that's very true. I want to give a shout out to everybody that was in the comments. Rap a Lot History, what's up? Thank you guys for tuning in. Cal, you dropped a lot of jewels, and ever since Collins passed, I definitely have been wanting to have something like this for you to kind of put that information out there, because I feel like I have a really good friend who has a podcast called Hip Hop Can Save America. Shout out to Manny Faces. He weekly brings on different people to talk about how hip hop literally is, has changed, so many facets of America, but also how it can save America. And from my point of view, of course, I'm dealing with the health portion. And I know that as a nurse, how important, just not having health insurance plays, but having life insurance, because, sadly, no matter how much we hate it, we all are going to leave this earth one day. And so, we got to be protected. But in this space, in this hip hop community, I know how important it is that we start having these conversations, putting the information out there, and that it come from people that look like us. people that actually appreciate the culture, people that's actually been a part of the community, that love the community. And so I'm very thankful and grateful that you was able to take the time to join in, and and I appreciate it. And no, Dramatic, you don't want us to start rapping. We ain't rapping today. We're not going to rap today. But I appreciate you, and shout out to you. Thank you for joining in. I definitely appreciate it. All right, y'all. This has been a really great episode. I'm hoping that, because it looks like Cal might have froze, but I hope that he can kind of come back in and be able to share his info. If not, we will definitely make sure to put it out there for you guys, so that if anybody is interested in getting with him and finding out how they can get themselves and their loved ones covered, is so important. Also, just even learning how to build generational wealth for you and your family, so that you can leave a legacy. And I think our generation can be the one that make a big difference and change that within our community. That we don't just work hard, but that we're able to live a very comfortable, fruitful life. I know that that's what I'm gunning for, because I don't want my kids to have to worry. Once I'm gone, I would like them to be able to just be able to woosah and and have a little something to say, mom definitely looked us out. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, we are now in April, people. That means there is only just a few weeks away before the Yo ATL Raps Awards will commence. Okay, so just a few more weeks you got for voting. Voting ends on April 20th. So if you have not voted for us, come on, man. What you waiting on? I need you to go vote. You know what I'm saying? We only got a few more weeks. And just to give you a heads up, we are taking a little bit of a break for the next couple of weeks. We had some traveling and different things going on. So the next time you will see us is for our beats per minute pulse check with my cutie pie daughter Taryn, and it'll be right before the Yo ATL rap show. So with that being said, you guys, I hope you have a good rest of the night. I hope that this has been great information for you, and that you will take it and apply it as you need to. Okay, go get yourself some insurance, if nothing else. All right, have a great night. Thank you.
Hello, little sister. How are you? Very proud of you and your accomplishments.